Hello, everybody. It is Monday evening, and you know what that means. It is time for SNL's Formula X. It is time for the Sunday Night League. I am experiencing very minor technical difficulties, so you'll have to bear with me for 30-odd seconds before I can properly get everything up and running. Conveniently, it took a lot less than 30 seconds. Alrighty, we are here. I'm just going to make sure of something real quick. There we go. Yep, so the stream is up and running. This is admittedly my second try. Something went wrong the first time, not sure what, but hey-ho, we push forwards. And, now I think I'll run you through the grid order for today's race. We are here at the Daytona Road Course. Here in Formula X, 16 drivers, full grid, lined up to take on this beast of a track. Although admittedly from this angle it doesn't look all that impressive. But believe me, it is when you get driving. So first off, on pole position for today we have Alexis, number 28, driving for Red Bull. He is currently second in the championship on 40 points. However, very importantly, we then have Matt Psycho in second on track. He qualified second here today, so we'll see how that turns out for him. If you give me a second, he is in 5th position in the championship. He is on 30 points, only 1 point behind the driver in front of him, and tied on points with 6th. So you'll see who those are momentarily. Next up on the grid... Ooh, what have I done? Nothing, apparently. Next up on the grid is our reserve for today. We have VRC Daz returning to Formula X today. Always great to see him driving. He is here. He is qualified in 3rd position on his return for Benetton. So Daz, of course, does not have a position in the championship, though he is replacing Speckmere today, who is in 9th in the championship on 24 points. Followed by that, you have Jim Joker in his lovely Ayrton Senna helmet there for Team Lotus. He is, of course, in 14th in the championship, 7 points for the Lotus driver, number 67. We'll see if he can add more than 6 points to his tally today, given number 67 already has 7 points. That was a bad pun, for which I apologize. Next up is Bailey for McLaren. Bailey is in 13th in the championship on 10 points. So the McLaren driver putting in a solid performance to qualify in 5th position today. Slenderfella, however, is in 6th. Number 21, the Ferrari, based off of the 1990 Ferrari. He is in, he is in 11th in the championship on 15 points, followed by our very own Armand Killebrew. Armand is in 15th in the championship. He didn't race in Brazil. He was new to the league for Spain, put in a solid performance. He's qualified here in 7th today. Followed by 8th place, our Lotus driver, Rob on drums, number 42. He is in 12th in the championship on 11 points. So 1 point ahead of Bailey and 4 points ahead of his teammate, Jim Joker. Followed by, in 9th position, we have Bunnies. Bunnies is in the Red Bull. He's number 99, and he's qualified 9th today. The Red Bull driver is in 3rd in the championship on 37 points, coming off of 2nd place in Spain. Seemed to fall away from him in the latter stages of the race. We'll see how he manages today. Followed after him, we have Bad Payoso stepping in for Aloe today. So Aloe not racing today, the McLaren driver unable to attend, unfortunately, but we have Bad Payoso replacing him. The American, of course, being a reserve, is not in the championship standings, but Aloe is running a strong 7th, coming off of 3rd place last round, and I believe his first podium in Formula X in Spain. After that, we have Intulu here. Intulu is 6th in the championship on 30 points, tied with Matt Psycho, his teammate, for 5th. And Intulu has qualified 11th today, followed by 12th place, our very own SNL Jam, number 7 there, the Benetton driver, as I said, in 12th on the grid, but in 8th in the championship, 24 points for him. It's Gazman next, number 89. Ferrari is in 4th in the championship on 31 points. So the Ferrari, maybe not quite the qualifying he would have wanted, down in 13th. But we'll see how he comes back in the race. He's had some exceptional pace past couple rounds. Very consistent as well so far this season. After him, we go forwards to Digital Blasphemy. Digital in 14th for Williams. And you'll notice that 15th is the Punisher. So these two Williams drivers, 14th and 15th. Digital Blasphemy in 10th in the championship on 16 points. The Punisher in last in the championship, 16th on 2 points. Unfortunately, he did also miss Brazil, though. So fair enough for him. He will be looking to do better, and unfortunately, a man who missed qualifying but was luckily able to get in for the race, our championship leader is VRC Cthulhu in the Renault, number 81. He is ready to rumble today. He's on 55 points, 15 points out in the championship lead, coming from a 2nd in Brazil and a 1st last round in Spain. He will be very excited for today, and I'll just quickly run us through the Constructors' Championship. At 77 points apiece for Renault and Red Bull, who are tied for 1st in the championship. 77 points for each of them, as I said. Now, after that, it is Benetton on 48 points, Ferrari on 46, Brabham on 42, 31 for McLaren, Lotus and Williams tied on 18 at the back of the grid. Let's go up to the front, let's go back, and let's see how this race turns out. An exciting race in store for us. Many people saying hello in the chat. Hello to all of you. Let's see how this goes, why don't we? I believe I have all of my settings right here. Yep, no names displayed, but everything else. I'm just going to tell you what, I'm going to set up my laptop so I can actually see it while I'm doing this, so I can keep track of comments. Stick with me for just 2 seconds, please, as I get this set up more properly. Well, that was messy, but I got it done. Alright, 32 laps ahead of us here in the United States of America. Let's see how this race goes. Alexis on pole, Matt Psycho 2nd, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. It's lights out, and we are racing here in America at Daytona. It's a good start for Alexis. Matt seems to be falling back slightly. Jim Joker on that high line, but Daz pretty comfortable in 3rd. It is Alexis in 1st, but Matt, who has seemed to have gotten a little bit of a tow, is going into turn 1. He can't quite challenge him, as actually that's a little bit of contact. A lot of people bumped wide there. It's Alexis in the lead, and it's Harmond in 2nd, followed by Bunnies, Daz. Matt is further back. Ooh, that's Rob looking for a move there. They're 3 wide through this hairpin here. Intulu making it out ahead of Rob, but Cthulhu ahead of him. Back up towards the front. It is a good, solid gap for Alexis. You can see Harmond here, Bunnies, Daz putting pressure on Bunnies. Bunnies running a little bit wide there. Daz is going to get through for a moment, is he? He can't quite. It's Bunnies in the middle. He's going to go to the inside, outside. Where is he going? He looks like he wants to try a move. He goes down the inside of Harmond. He is through on Harmond. Here's Daz as Harmond runs really wide as they go onto the oval. And Alexis looking like he's about 3 seconds out in front. It is a dream start for Alexis, and a good start generally for the Red Bulls. Further back, has anyone spun or anything? No, everybody together in the pack. As I apologize, it is a little bit jumpy here. I do not have a keyboard to skip straight to people, but that is a massive gap for Alexis there, as Daz has gotten ahead of Bunnies. So Daz up into second. I wonder how that happened. Why don't we go back and take a look at it quickly? So it's Bunnies here. He's already behind Daz. Daz is powered through. He looks like he's used some overtake to do so. So Daz happily through into second in that Benetton. Let's see. Bunnies in third. Matt is fourth. Matt is on the medium. So is Daz. So it's soft, medium, medium. Oh, it's soft. Actually, I tell you what, that's the two Renaults going side by side. A little bit of contact there. It's Rob on drums right behind them. Let's see what Rob on drums can see of this little squabble here. Down towards turn one. Cthulhu is ahead, but Armand is going to think about the outside. He brakes a little bit early. Rob on drums is actually going to go down the inside. That was an opportunistic move, but he makes it work very well. So Rob on drums is through into seventh here. Cthulhu starting from last into sixth already. That's 10 positions gained. That is unbelievable, as Jam actually pointing that out in the chat at the same time. Good noticing skills there, as Alexis pulling out of this hairpin. He's so far ahead of these two behind. Bunnies looking like he's putting pressure on Daz. Daz using some overtake to try and defend. Bunnies still hasn't used any from the looks of it. We've seen him be very conservative with his overtake before. Bunnies is going to pull into the slipstream. He's 8 seconds purple, but don't let that deceive you. It is only the second lap, so that is to be expected for just about every driver, unless they've spun. As here, I tell you what, the two McLarens and Jam battling. That is a very wide line for Bad Payoso. The Williams still pretty far back. Slenderfella, not the start he would have wanted. He's down to 16th. Jam is ahead of the McLarens. Is he going to maintain that into the chicane? I tell you what might be more important to consider the McLarens fighting over each other. Bad Payoso, ooh, running across the grass there, apologies for that little misspeech. Let's see further up. We'll go back to them in a moment, because it looks like the McLarens were going to put some pressure on Jam in a moment, as it looks like he's going to spin for a moment in the background. Bad Payoso, let's go on board with the McLaren driver, the reserve. He's going to try around the outside Jam. Is he going to go around the outside into turn one? Ooh, he brakes a little bit later, but not late enough. He has to turn in eventually. He has to make sure he makes the corner, but he can't go around the outside of Jam there. He's going to try the outside of turn 2, turn 4 realistically. Hard to say whether or not you count that little double kink chicane as corners, but realistically I would consider it turn 4, as that looks like Bunny's trying to go around the outside of Daz up there for second, but it is a dream situation for Alexis. Ooh. As, let's see, Daz is ahead of Bunnies. Bunnies getting under pressure from Matt. Let's look at Matt. Let's ride on board with Matt, see how the Red Bull tries to deal with the Benetton. He's going to go down the inside. This is sketchy. He's going to be trying to do it before the chicane. Can he pull ahead in time? He does, so he's safely through before the chicane. And that is Bunny's release up into second. It is a Red Bull 1-2 as Matt cutting across the grass a little bit there. Let's see Cthulhu further back. He's got a pretty solid gap there. But look, you cannot even see Alexis up ahead. There he is. That little speck on your screen that you thought was dust for a moment? No, that's not dust. That is Alexis miles out in front. Let's see. About 4 to 5 seconds in front is Alexis from his teammate. A 30.4 is the fastest lap of the race as it stands. That is set by Alexis. Bunny's only doing a 30.7, so he's 3 tenths off there at least. As let's look further back. Oh, that is chaos in the middle pack. Wow, that is 4 drivers right stuck together. Bailey from 3rd to 12th, haha, says Mark Bailey. That is, yeah, not quite what he will have wanted. A bit of the opposite of Cthulhu. So not quite what Bailey will have wanted, but here we have Jim Joker heading the pack. Oh, that's some contact. That's Armand off. And that is not what Bad Payoso will have been trying to do. Armand seriously disadvantaged by that contact. Slenderfella just squeezing through there. Digital Blasphemy, not going to be able to take advantage of that at all. Armand knocked way far back in that battle. But I tell you what, it helps Jim Joker because it's given him a little bit of a gap to Bad Payoso. As Matt Psycho has gotten ahead of Daz. Not sure where that has happened. Both of them taking track limits properly this time. Ooh, as that is Cthulhu almost bumping Daz out of the way. That looked chaotic. We have a very cool angle here, turning the chase camera around. Let's see, is Daz going to challenge Cthulhu in the slipstream? Cthulhu up into the 300s for kilometers per hour. His pace is substantial here. As a bit of contact, that's 3 people into the front and back of each other. Matt Psycho heading Cthulhu and Daz. Let's see, Bunny's far enough up ahead of the road, on the road. Then it's Alexis up here. You can see Bunnies in the background. Bunnies is going to be trying to pull away from this fight as Daz, he runs wide on the grass slightly. Let's see here. Matt hard braking into here. Ooh, that's Cthulhu going for a dive bomb. I think he might have missed his braking point because he knocks Matt off the track. Daz goes through. Cthulhu, being the sportsman, waits for Matt to come back on track. That's also Ntulu through here. As Rob on drums is going to look to the inside, he goes through, and Cthulhu, as Matt closes the door on him. So Cthulhu hitting Matt off the track and unfortunately having to wait up for him. Both of those drivers losing so much time there and coming right off the back of a fastest lap of the race for Cthulhu. That is not what the Renault driver will have been wanting. So Matt will not be happy with that. Rob on drums, is he going to try and go down the inside of the chicane? He's not going to have an opportunity. Cthulhu backs out on the outside there, so no change in position through the chicane on this occasion. Bad Payoso's there now, though. He bumps Cthulhu. Cthulhu's going to go round the outside of Rob. Bad Payoso trying to stay in the slipstream. Hits the barriers a little bit. He's not in the slipstream anymore. Now Rob has the slipstream. How are these 3 going to manage this bit? Rob seems to be comfortably through. Let's look further back, make sure nothing too chaotic is going on. Tell you what, Jim Joker on Slenderfella. Let's take a look at this. Slenderfella is going to try and defend in front. Jim Joker, is he going to go round the outside of turn 1? He can't quite. Slenderfella almost looking at Jam there. Ooh, it looks like he nearly clipped the wall there. Slenderfella, just a bit of oversteer there. Ooh, Slenderfella off the track. Jim Joker trying to put it down the inside. Slenderfella, a very nice save there, keeping it smooth on the grass. Well done to Slenderfella for keeping that car facing forwards. Looking further up the grid, though, it is an exceptional gap. Alexis to Bunnies and Bunnies to Daz. You can't even see Bunny. Oh, you can just see Bunnies in the top left corner of your screen, just barely. And it's a similar situation where it's just a speck off in the distance for the drive. That is the driver ahead for Bunnies. So, significant gaps here. And I tell you what, if it weren't for that Red Bull duo, it would look like Daz was kind of dominating this race here, exiting this chicane here, just as Ntulu is entering it in 4th. But that Red Bull duo is so fast right now. Both of them in the 30s. Daz, however, in the 31s and the 33s. Everybody behind. Nobody really breaking into the 30s except Cthulhu, who's gone into the 29s once. Let's see, as that is Ntulu into the pits. 54% of his fuel left. Is Matt going to try round the outside of Cthulhu? He's going to go for it. Round the outside into turn 1. He can't make that move yet. Cthulhu brakes later. Will Matt be able to make it in a moment, though? Looks like, especially with that soft tire advantage, I would imagine Cthulhu will be safe, but it's hard to say. The slipstream is very powerful here. As we look further back, that was a chaos. Jim Joker going around the outside of Jam, I think. Ooh, just barely keeping the car forwards. Jam punching the overtake a little bit. Can he make it through on Jim Joker? Looking to the left here. Jim, ooh. Jam backing out, a wise decision there, trying to avoid too much chaos, as Jim is really struggling on those tires, those softs. The rears might be giving way for him a little bit. That is not what Jim Joker, the Czech driver, will be wanting, but tell you what, Gazman won't mind that too much, because he is under a bit of pressure as Jam. Is he going to go round the outside, down to the inside line, on the low line, on the banking? Can Jam make it through? He's already through, but can Jim Joker now slip into the slipstream? Can he then pull out? No, he can't. It looks like Jam just has the pace advantage. He'll be making use of that slipstream from Gazman, as Jam, very aggressive through that chicane, very quick. That looked very good. It looked like he maintained track limits. He was very good about that, but still very quick. So good on Jan for that. He's figured out the chicane, and he's going to put some pressure on Gazman now. Towards the inside, Gazman goes into the pits, actually. So Gazman off of the hards, so he'll be glad to be doing that. As Intulu onto softs, so we saw him pitting from mediums. He's at around about half fuel, so he's back up to full fuel. He's got a full tank of fuel, and he's on to the softs, so saying 6-7 laps is about half fuel. I'd imagine that fuel can go about 13 laps then, in which case 26. I would imagine they've both got one stop left, because they hit around lap 6, lap 7, and then they could do 2 13-lap stints. Alexis up at the front. Let's see how he navigates this chicane. Just a bit of a downshift there. Possibly a lift as well. Bunnies... Oh, we were too late to get the bunnies. Let's see Daz, though. So Daz, admittedly having a tire disadvantage, but definitely it looked like he just didn't have as much grip through the chicane as Alexis did. Let's see here. Why don't we look further back towards the Punisher? No, let's go up here. There's a bit of a battle here as Jam and Jim Joker. Jim Joker's back through on Jam. Jim and Jam. That is not a confusing thing to have to say at all. Jim, though, is less than a quarter of his overtake left. Jam is looking for a way through. Can he make it? Jim setting his new personal best to 31 flat. Jam's personal best also last lap, it seems, with a 31.8, so he's 0.8 of a second slower on that lap than Jim. But I figured this is a good time to mention the overtake. So overtake in the Super Formula cars, if we see there, Alexis's car has a green light over the driver. That means he has 25% or more of his overtake left. As opposed to, say, excuse me, as opposed to, say, Jim Joker, who has less than 25% of his overtake left, meaning he has a red light above his driver's head. And there's nobody to give an example quite yet, but at a certain point you'll notice drivers will no longer have a light above their head. That is for drivers who are out of overtake. So if there's no light above the driver's head, that means they have no overtake left. An overtake, of course, giving a boost in speed, but it also takes up extra fuel. So we'll see if anybody's on a fuel-saving stint, we might see them using less overtake. Matt Psycho on the mediums. He's not far back from Cthulhu, but I wouldn't think he's in striking distance quite yet. The Brabham driver's gonna have to bide his time, as Cthulhu getting a little bit of snap of oversteer, so Matt is looking pretty strong through turn 1. You can see him gaining quite a bit of time on Cthulhu there, especially with Cthulhu's snap of oversteer. Cthulhu running into the grass. I wonder if he's maybe pushing a bit hard. As much as I say that, Alexis has the fastest lap of the race at the moment, a 29.5. That is an exceptional lap from the Red Bull driver. Let's see one more time how he manages this chicane. I want to look at his throttle inputs. It's just a quick lift and a downshift. What about bunnies? Bunnies through the chicane. Similar lift, a downshift, and immediately upshifting again, so I wonder if he thought maybe the downshift was the wrong way to do it. Let's see Daz this time. Daz, big lift, almost a tiny bit of braking I thought I might have seen. Not sure, but let's look further back, because that probably will have looked pretty tricky on stream. Ooh, is Jam thinking about a move, but he can't pull it off there. Jim Joker stays safe in 9th for the time being, as we can see some drivers starting to fall a little bit further back. Is it just me, or these drivers... I think I had an audio glitch for a moment. But Gazman, of course, having already pitted It looks like Slenderfella's probably already pitted as well. Either that, or he's just unbelievable at managing his tires. But based on his lap times in laps 6 and 7, I would guess that he has recently pitted. So I'd say this bottom 3 has all taken their first pit stop. I wonder when we'll be seeing the rest of the pit stops. Jim Joker behind Jam. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened. Jim Joker just getting all squirrely there through the chicane, and Jam pulling off the move. As Jim Joker really struggling on these tires, burning up a lot of overtake as well. We'll see how that strategy works out for him. Jam is going to be pushing to catch up to Bailey now, though. Jam seems to have some strong pace. We'll see if he can utilize it, though. Further back, Armand is pretty much in no man's land. I'd say almost everybody back here is in no man's land, except for Gasman, who is on soft tires. We've seen Gasman with some really exceptional pace in recent times. We will see, what happens with him now on soft tires, as Alexis another even better lap with a 29.2, and I'm just going to have to call out the most recent comment. This is some very talented drivers here, calling this driving terrible driving, unless there was a particular incident you're referring to. I'm gonna have to disagree with you very strongly there, good sir. This is some very good driving. Alexis is so quick, Bunnies is so quick, all of these guys are so quick, even the guys towards the back. I mean, it's such a high quality lead. But to tell you what, I don't have time to keep complimenting them because Carmond is going around the outside of Rob on Drums. Rob on Drums falling down to 9th, but it's also, ooh, is Rob running onto the grass. That is an unfortunate crash there. Just putting some wheels on the grass. Easy to make, mistake to make. Hopefully it doesn't happen too much more to him. As I tell you what, looking at the fuel, I think Rob on Drums and Digital Blasphemy are probably fuel saving, trying to go a lap or two longer than the rest of the field. Intulu here is both Digital and Intulu getting big snaps of oversteer. It's a bizarre thing that seems to happen very often in this game. One driver gets a snap of oversteer or runs wide, and the other driver seems to do the same almost every time when they're following closely behind. As Digital slowing down Intulu a little bit here. He's not a lapped car, there's no obligation to let him through, but I'm sure Intulu won't be too thrilled about that. Intulu goes for a switchback, the Brabham, he's going to be through on the Williams quite quickly. So that is the Portuguese driver up into 10th. As we look further up the grid, let's see Cthulhu actually going side by side with Daz. Cthulhu's going to try and go round the outside of turn 1. Can he make it? He brakes later. He's through. And now Matt Psycho, is he going to sense a chance on Daz? The Spaniard through on the Brit, and another Brit right behind him. Let's see, can the Brabham driver do anything to overtake the Benetton Reserve? Let's see. Daz here, he's gonna get some decent traction, but it looks like it might have been a little bit better for Matt. I don't think he'll have a chance down here into turn 5 or 6, whichever you want to call it. Let's see, can't quite pull off anything yet, but he's very close to Daz. Daz able to get on the throttle a bit sooner. Let's look at Alexis. Bunnies, that is some humongous gaps, as it looks like somebody's been lapped. It appears to be the Punisher, so that's too bad for the Canadian, as I went on to the other Canadian for a moment there. Let's see, Matt Psycho in the slipstream of Daz. Is he going to go round the outside as they come off the banking? What's it going to be? He's on the outside. Is he going to make it through before the chicane? Daz very far to the inside. He pulls to the outside, backing out a little bit. Didn't want to try and go side by side. As Alexis is into the pits here, let's see, is Bunnies as well. Bunnies is exceptionally low on fuel. He'll definitely need to be. Alexis and Bunnies both into the pits. That's both of the Red Bulls into the pits. Cthulhu now. Cthulhu seems to follow the same strategy as Alexis very often. Those two seeming to work together, possibly even. Maybe not, actually, as I say that. Like, basically everybody's pulling into the pits, so... Let's see here. Jam surely will also need to. He's very low on fuel, so it looks like the fuel can go 13 laps. So 13, 26, and then a further 6 laps. That seems to be the strategy. Some people will surely be doing that in different orders. So Alexis, about 10 seconds up the road from Bunnies, if I had to guess. probably Bunny is about the same ahead of Alexis. As I say that, Bunny's actually coming out of the pits before anyone else. Bunny's already there. He hasn't replaced his tires, and he's only fueled up to about half tank, so I'd imagine this will be his 6-lap stint, as Alexis out of the pits now, full fuel and fresh tires, so Alexis will be faster on this stint, presumably, with those fresh tires. But let's see here as Rob on drums in third, so he hasn't pitted yet. He is extending on this stint. Matt Psycho into third, so he is ahead of Cthulhu and Daz. Matt and Daz and Intulu all on about halfway fuel at the moment. Let's see here. Matt Psycho, he's managing this well. That is a really difficult corner for traction. I haven't mentioned it yet, but let's see how Slenderfella manages. It's really tough on traction here. It looks like he might have been using some traction control, actually. Many drivers do that. These cars... What was that? Is that digital into the walls? I swear I heard someone hit the wall. That was very confusing. Apologies for that. I swear someone hit the wall there. But yeah, let's look at Matt Psycho. He's going to gain on Rob on drums. But that corner I was mentioning, very easy to spin there. There's some very difficult corners here when it comes to traction. Rob on drums pulling into the pit lane, so Matt Psycho not getting an overtake, but still getting past. Matt Psycho and Alexis, that's a much closer gap now, though it does show just how slowly the fuel comes in. Because Alexis, full fuel tank, Matt Psycho, half fuel tank, and Matt has gained so much time. As let's look back just to confirm my suspicions. Cthulhu, yes. Cthulhu has fueled up all the way, so that would be why he's lost so much time to drivers such as Daz and Matt Psycho. However, in their final pit stops, Alexis and Cthulhu will gain back a ton of time. So although Bunny's looks to be, say, 10-odd seconds out in front, Alexis will presumably take the lead back at the next set of pit stops. So it's on-track lead, but for Bunny's, but a net lead for Alexis, it has to be said. Let's see what happens next. These two Red Bulls flying along, but the Brabham of Matt Psycho not letting go at all. And I tell you what, I think the real threat for the Red Bulls will be Matt Psycho. I don't think Alexis has to worry about him too much, given how the strategy is likely to work out. But Bunny's being on the same strategy as Matt's not super far behind. Matt is known to be a very quick driver. Matt could gain this gap. It would be difficult, but he could gain it. Let's see how Bunny's is managing on these tires. He's managing quite nicely. He took that corner very smoothly. See, as I've mentioned before, this next corner is very difficult when it comes to traction. Let's see how he manages. He nails it, really. I was mentioning many drivers in this league using traction control, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. These cars are extremely difficult to control at times. But one driver I know for sure not to be using traction control is Bunny. That has been mentioned before. You might remember last season, I believe at Road Atlanta, Matt pointing out, Matt, the commentator at that time around, last season, Matt pointing out that Bunnies did not appear to be using traction control, and I believe he is not. Some drivers are, some might find an advantage from using it, some might find an advantage from not using it. So, really, it's just another little bit of strategy. It might work better sometimes than others. As that is Intulu going round the outside of Daz. It's difficult to make an overtake on the high line here, but he's using overtake to help him. Is he gonna make it? Daz, let's look to the side from Daz's car. We can see Intulu. Daz is edging back ahead. Intulu, is he gonna try and brake later? Can he do it? Round the outside of turn 1, he's barely on the track. He's gonna turn in, but he can't make it. That is some excellent traction from Daz, actually, keeping himself ahead very nicely in the Benetton. Daz, I tell you what, we haven't really seen him since, I believe, GTE Season 2, or if we're talking Formula X exclusively, don't believe we've seen him since Season 4, of course winning the Nordschleife race in Season 4, ahead of Matt Psycho and Bunnies, I believe, on that occasion. But that was quite a while ago. So Daz, though, making an excellent return is what I was trying to say. Sort of got lost in thought there about past seasons of SNL and Formula X. But no, very, very impressive comeback, return from Daz. Managing his overtake also quite well is what I'm noticing. As, not to say Intulu isn't, but Intulu certainly has used a lot more. But given the different situations of drivers throughout the race, it is easy to wonder, as Intulu going for the high line again on the banking, Brabham above Benetton. We'll see if this works out this time. But Daz saying, when will you learn? You have to go to the inside. Is Intulu going to try the inside for turn 1? No, still the outside, and he can't get the move once again. So it looks like Intulu has a little bit better pace than Daz, but he can't push through. Intulu not able to take that 4th position away from the reserve Benetton driver. But Daz, as I said, very, very quick. As further up the grid, though, it's Alexis and Matt. I feel like that gap might have closed down slightly. It would make sense given the fresh tires from Matt, and and less fuel for Matt, more to the point. Whereas Bunnies, for example, same amount of fuel as Matt, but much more worn tires. As managing the chicane nicely there is Bunnies. We'll watch. Let's watch from this view how Alexis manages it. A little bit less aggressive on the curbs, but managing it quite nicely nonetheless. As Matt Psycho pretty quick through there as well. Matt has set a 29.5 a couple laps ago. As actually, I tell you what, Alexis has been setting similar lap times, so Alexis and Matt having some excellent pace. Bunnies here, though, still some pretty good pace in the 31s and the 30s, but he has not broken into the 29s yet. As you can see, his fastest lap there, a 30.0, as also at Matt Sykes or Joshua, as they said they were earlier, which I would guess is Matt's father, uncertain. But saying good job on no TC, presumably to Bunnies, who I mentioned doesn't drive with it earlier, so yep, it's good for him, but certainly nothing wrong with using it. Many drivers do, as let's see. Actually, I tell you what, just based on his throttle inputs, I'm going to take a guess that Alexis doesn't use it either. But it's hard to say. It is hard to say with these drivers. I couldn't even say 100% certain Bunny, but I do believe so. Joshua is 12 years old. Okay, so Josh, glad to see a young audience also enjoying this racing. As Alexis just getting past the lap car there, I think that might be Digital, yeah. So Digital getting lapped there. Digital, the Punisher, so not a great round for Williams, admittedly, in 15th and 16th. The random draw to decide teams maybe not working out brilliantly here for this season for Williams. But I tell you what, it's worked out quite well for Red Bull, as the first of their 2 drivers at the moment goes in the pits. And Matt is into the pits as well, so it's Bunnies and Matt into the pits. Let's see, does Daz pit as well? He does, he dives into the pits from the looks of it, so does Intulu. So Intulu still unable to overtake Daz there. All of these drivers 2, 3, 4% on fuel. Slenderfella running a very strong race, actually. He is also here in 6th at the moment. We'll see Cthulhu stays out, so does Gasman. So Cthulhu and Gasman will climb the order a little bit here. Cthulhu has used quite a bit of his overtake. You can see the red light above his head, but Alexis here has a green light over his head, so he must be at about exactly 25%. Because if I had to say, that graphic actually looks like he's a little bit below it, but it is, of course, hard to say. Maybe it's for 20%, not 25%. Hard to say. I would imagine 25%, quarter of the overtake left. We'll see. Gasman, Jan here. Jan doing quite well here. Quite a bit of fuel left. He's in 4th. Bad Peo, so I'd say... Ooh, Gasman has a lot less fuel than these folks. Although, actually, I tell you what, Gasman, having pitted on lap 6, that does make sense. He'll be finishing his tank of fuel. As Bunnies is onto fresh tires and a full tank of fuel. Same with Matt. Although, actually, tell you what, I don't think Matt did change his tires on this occasion. Because his tires are that worn. And, what I'm noticing here is Bunnies, not with a particularly large gap to Matt. There does appear to be a car in between them. If I go a little bit further back, is it maybe Punisher, Digital? No? Who might that be? Huh. No, I'm just going insane. Apologies. That was my mistake. No cars between Matt and Bunnies. Let's see. You can see Bunnies up there now as the Gasman into the pits for Ferrari. The Scarlet Red Ferrari, based on the 1990 Ferrari, and I'm just going to let you guys listen in on the engine of, let's say, why not Matt, for a minute, for maybe 20-30 seconds. So Matt there, you can see navigating Sector 1 quite well. I wonder if he's gaining on Bunnies. It kind of looks like that Red Bull is getting a little bit closer to Matt's grab him. So let's see. Further up the grid, Alexis still going for another lap. You can see his fuel there in the bottom left-hand side of your screen. He's got maybe a third of his fuel left. So that'll be a few more laps. I would imagine we can expect to see him in on lap 26, as he has recently set a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.108. That is an exceptional lap from the Spaniard, the Red Bull driver, doing very well there, and his Spanish compatriot, is that the right word? Compatriot? Companion? I don't know. Words are difficult, man. But Cthulhu making it through turn 1 there. Cthulhu very far behind Alexis, but Jam not too far off of Cthulhu. You can see Cthulhu up there heading in the opposite direction. That just means he's taken this hairpin already. I wonder if it'll be a similar situation for Bunnies. Yeah, a similar gap between Bunnies and Jam, but a very different gap between Bunnies and Matt. Matt is right behind Bunnies now. Not quite in striking distance. To tell you what, if he keeps up lap times like that 1:29.0, he is absolutely going to be in striking distance any time now. As, yeah, gaining something incredible like 2 seconds on Bunny's last lap. So, Matt with some unbelievable pace here. 10 laps to go, there or thereabouts, as Alexis starting lap 23. So yeah, about 10 laps to go. Let's see, Bunnies here, Matt Psycho. Is he going to be in the slipstream now? I think Matt will have slipstream on Bunnies now. So this will be exactly what Matt is hoping for. Matt is almost within striking distance. He has to lift off that little bit more, maybe, for the chicane, being in the dirty air. Let's see, Bunnies. Oh, look at that speed difference. Matt is definitely in the slipstream. Matt using the overtake, he's catching, he's gaining on Bunnies, still got the green light above his head. Bunnies about half his overtake left, Matt about a quarter. Let's see, Red Bull grab him, let's see how this goes into turn 1. Bunnies is safe for the time being, but I can't see him staying safe for long. Matt is pressuring him so heavily. 10 laps to go for Matt to catch and pass Bunnies. I tell you what, he's done the catching phase. He just needs to pass Bunnies now. Let's see, what was his last lap this time? A 29.7. So he only gained about 7/10 of a second on that occasion on Bunnies, as Bunnies setting a 30.4. Bunnies is not going to be liking this, as Matt, he's looking at the outside. What's he gonna do? Matt's gonna want to go for a move here, I'm sure. Matt will want to chase after Jan, Cthulhu, and Alexis. These two, they're gonna be squabbling if they're not careful. Not careful, they're gonna want to be squabbling. Certainly Matt will. He'll want to make an overtake pretty quickly. But I tell you what, it's gonna be his opportunity. Inside, outside. He's gonna go for the outside, down towards the chicane. Matt is going to be through before the turn-in, hopefully. He is. So Bunny's, ooh, just a little bit of a slidey moment from Bunny's there, it looked like. Struggling to keep it going through the chicane, but he manages nicely. And Matt now trying to use the overtake to pull away a little bit, as Bunny's just chilling behind him for a moment as Jam is into the pit lane. So Jam is going to fuel up for about 10 laps of fuel. Let's see, Cthulhu and Alexis, they look like they might even be fuel saving a little bit, considering all things considered. But Matt into third position now. The Brabham driver will now want to hunt down those two Spaniards. I'd say, if I had to guess, they'll okay, Cthulhu will definitely come out behind these two, but Alexis, oh man, Alexis is so far ahead. That's gotta be like a 20-second gap, 30-second gap, surely. Surely, that's insane. That's incredible. Let's see let's take a look at the gap, yeah? Let's see. We'll have to go back to Cthulhu in a moment to calculate that. We'll have to make sure we get to him soon enough. Why don't we just go back now, just to be sure. About halfway through that corner. As let's watch Matt through the chicane here. Bunnies, let's see how the dirty air affects it. Ooh, a little bit wide through that second section as Cthulhu coming up on the run to the line now. Almost exactly half a minute behind Alexis. Cthulhu is, I should be wording it more, Alexis is half a minute in front of the entire rest of the field. That is no easy task. I tell you what, actually, this top four generally is miles ahead, because look at Daz. He's going through here, and Bunnies and Matt are going through turn one. So that is really an exceptional gap there as well, but man, that is unbelievable from Alexis. Full praise to him for this race. This is just unbelievable. As Daz maybe under pressure from Jim Joker a little bit. No, I tell you what, I think Daz has probably just overtaken Jim Joker for fifth position. The Benetton driver making the move on the Lotus. The Lotus is going to need to pit, and I tell you what, this has been a very good round for Lotus so far. Jim Joker doing pretty well, Rob on drums not doing bad either. Both of those Lotus drivers should be pretty happy with how this is going, I would think. As Bunny's still sticking on the back of Matt. Wonder if he's just outside of the slipstream by now. I would think he probably is. Let's see. Ooh, maybe not. It looked like Bunny's was struggling through the second half of that chicane. Let's see, Cthulhu... Oh, Alexis will definitely be in at the end of this lap. I think my prediction was right. As, oh, wow. A 28.9 is the most recent fastest lap of the race. Coming from Alexis, that is unbelievable. From the Spaniard, driving for Red Bull. What a lap, a 28.9. He is a man on a mission. Let's see, Cthulhu, 29.9 recently. Nobody can keep up with Alexis. Wow, Alexis, this is just, what a drive from the Spaniard. Bunny's trying to keep up with Matt. Bunny's about, words, please. Bunny's about 3 thousandths off of his current fastest lap. And Bunny's trying to stick on the back of Matt. Funny enough, just as someone saying in the chat could not shake that rabid bunny. Yep, so this bunny is certainly taking a bite and not letting go. I'm really bad with analogies sometimes. I apologize for that. But yeah, Bunny's certainly not letting go of the back of Matt. He's falling back a little bit, but he's not going far off, and he has a lot more overtake that he can afford to use compared to Matt. He's got half his fuel tank left as Cthulhu and Alexis are into the pit. So Alexis refueling. Where are these two? Alexis, he's going to need to fuel about halfway up on fuel, maybe. Matt crossing the line as Alexis is done refueling. So Alexis is out already, and he's onto the hards. So that will not be a pleasant last few laps, but it's only 6 laps that he needs to do. Matt Psycho, Bunnies, and Cthulhu still refueling. Where will Cthulhu be in comparison to Daz, Jim Joker, and Cthulhu? That I am curious to see. Cthulhu, he's almost done refueling. Jim Joker into the pit. Cthulhu's done refueling. Where's Daz? The Renault and the Benetton, both light blue. But it looks like the Renault is comfortably ahead. Daz will try to catch up, I'm sure, but actually, tell you what, Cthulhu also on the hards. So as I said, that will not be too pleasant. And Alexis, he's on the hards, but these two are much closer than before, Bunnies and Matt, and the two of them on relatively fresh softs, so we'll see how they fare. You can see Alexis up there, as might have just been able to see him going through the chicane there, if you could see through that timer, showing the current lap time. As you can see a little bit of red around Bunny's front left there through the chicane, so clearly pushing these tires a little bit hard. Quite hard, I should say. Bit of scrubbing there on the tires, and judging by the engine sounds, I think Bunnies might just be into Matt's slipstream. 300 kilometers per hour compared to just under 300 from Matt, so I think Bunnies is in Matt's slipstream. Oh, as Bunnies, he's going to send it into turn 1. Thinks better of it in the end. He nearly hits Matt. Matt, that probably will have caught both of them by surprise, I would imagine. As Bunny's setting a new fastest lap, or sorry, not fastest lap, but personal fastest lap on that lap, a 129.412, so probably lots of overtake and lots of slipstream involved in that lap time. As I'm going to mute for 2 seconds to take a drink of water. Apologies. We are back, and I tell you what, this is not a big gap. You can see Alexis there in the top left corner of your screen. There's two cars here in front of Matt, but the middle of them, the first of those two, is the lap car of the Punisher. Digi's just had an accident. Let's go back and see what's happened to Digital Blasphemy. Coming up towards the chicane, it's presumably going to be a crash in the chicane. The chicane very difficult. As he runs wide, hits the grass, and he's around into the wall. That's gotta hurt. That is not what Digital Blasphemy will have been wanting, as that is Alexis there. So you can see, based on that green camera on top of the Red Bull, you can see that is in fact Alexis. He threw on Digital. Here's Matt and Bunnies. Bunnies is right on the back of Matt. Matt sticking in the slipstream of, is that Digital or is that Punisher? Oh, it's one of the Williams. I think it's the Punisher. Actually, yeah, that's the second of the two Williams. They're both of the Williams there. Bunny's right behind. Ooh, how's it? Oh my god, there's 4 of them into turn 1. Threading the needle in a way. Bunny's tapping the back of Matt. Matt, ooh, is Digital in the way a bit there too. That was so messy between the two of them. Digital Blasphemy and the Punisher just getting in the way of each other a little bit there, as the Punisher actually has some rear end damage. So I wonder if Matt or Bunnies accidentally hit him there, as Bunnies is right on the back of Matt. What's he going to do? Round the outside. Can he make this move? Is it going to have to be a switchback? He might go for it. He can't quite. These two need to be careful not to squabble too much, because tell you what, Alexis is losing a lot of time to the two of them on these hard tires. Can these two catch up? Matt Psycho and Bunnies. Bunnies, well, Bunnies is on softs. He's in the Red Bull. He's going to want to catch up to Alexis for the sake of the Drivers' Championship, but for the Team's Championship, he'll probably want to drop Matt before he does that. Matt, both for the Team's and Drivers' Championship, will be desperate to catch up to Alexis and maintain his position above Bunnies. Alexis Well, he's just going to be pushing as hard as he can at this point, I would imagine. These hards not treating him too well, as Bunnies is in the slipstream of Matt. He's catching, he's gaining, he's gaining, he's gaining. Is it going to be the inside? Is it going to be the outside? Is he just going to stick behind? As he does bump draft Matt, actually, so he's just trying to get a little bit closer to Alexis himself, presumably. I wonder if he thinks he needs that help. Down the inside! That was sudden. Bunnies goes for it, but Matt, it was a big snap of oversteer, and Matt managed to defend his position on the outside. That is some excellent defense there from the Brit. But Matt, he's going to be hard-pressed to keep his advantage here. He's got some rear-end damage, so I guess Bunnies must have really clobbered into him. It didn't look too bad from our point of view, but maybe he did hit him pretty bad. It's going to be Bunnies down the inside. Bunnies is through. Can Matt get the switchback? He can't quite, can't get the traction either. His rear end damage is fixed. He's going to go look at the outside, at the inside. He can't do anything yet. Maybe he'll try to get a slipstream down towards the chicane. He has very little overtake left. Bunnies has about a quarter. You could just watch his light turn red there. Alexis is out of slipstream, out of slipstream. I mean, he is out of slipstream, but I meant to say he's out of overtake because he has no light there above his driver's head. It's going to be Matt. He's gaining on Bunnies. He's gaining on Bunnies. He backs out slightly. He lifts off. He doesn't think it's worth it. Ooh, he runs wide through the chicane across the grass. He has to be careful. He's just about kept it going, but he's lost a lot of time to Bunnies there. That is a lot of time lost. There's 2 laps to go at the end of this lap. You can see Alexis there taking the line. He's 2 laps left for Alexis. 2 laps left for Bunnies. 2 laps for Matt Psycho. It's Cthulhu spun. Cthulhu's round. So Cthulhu, something's happened to Cthulhu at the chicane. What has happened here? Oh, he clips the grass, and this is exactly what Digital Blaspheme's done. Oh, and that's a lot more damage as well. Only 2 components of his car, 3 technically, not damaged. Both of his right-hand wheels and his engine making it out alright, but the rest of his car will be severely hurting. I could have sworn 2 seconds ago we were at 4 viewers, but I must have misread that, because we are at 13 at the moment. And that is 13 people avidly waiting for a spectacular end to this race. As Alexis runs wide, Bunnies is going to try and take advantage of that. He's not close enough yet. Matt is still in a position where he could go for an overtake on Bunnies if he gets some nice slipstream. So Bunnies under pressure in both directions, trying to overtake, trying to defend. He's in a sandwich here of 2 very quick drivers. But tell you what, it's a 3-way quick driver sandwich. How do I word that? That's a really difficult thing to word. All 3 of these drivers are very quick. I'll put it that way. I was trying to say it was a 3-way sandwich of quick drivers, but that was just confusing. As onto the final, not onto the final lap, we've got an entire corner first, about 20 seconds. But I tell you what, Bunnies, I think Bunnies is in the slipstream of Alexis. He's going to be going for it surely. 16 viewers now. Thank you to everyone watching. We've got 1 lap left, and I have no idea how this is going to go. It's a 3-way fight for the win. You can see all of those top 3 in the same frame for a moment there. It's the final lap of the race. Bunnies in the 29s on the last lap. Alexis in the 31s. It's Bunnies. It's Alexis. It's Bunnies. It's Matt. Who is going to come out on top? The 2 Red Bulls are so close together here. What's Bunnies going to do? Is he going to look down the inside? He looked like he was considering for a split second, but thought better of it. It's Alexis running wide. Bunnies is side by side with his teammate. Not quite. He's pulling into the slipstream. It's going to be a left-hand kink and then a hard braking zone here. Is he going to go for it? Into this corner. Down the inside. Bunnies does go for it. Alexis runs wide. He's going to go for the switchback. It's good. Oh, that's a good switchback. I tell you what. Oh, it's a bit of oversteer for Alexis. And Bunnies is through. Matt Psycho's going to look down the inside now as well. Matt on the inside. Tiny bit of rubbing there. And Alexis is down to third. Oh, bit of oversteer for both of those drivers. But Bunnies is through into the lead. He's using his overtake. He's running away. Oh, too much to say. Matt Psycho under pressure from Alexis. Alexis bump drafting him for the moment. I wonder if he'll think to pull out into the slipstream. He has less fuel than Matt. So does Bunnies. Both Red Bulls on less fuel than Matt's Brabham. As Bunnies is through. Oh, Alexis through the grass on the final chicane. But it's looking like it's going to be Bunnies all the way. Bunnies, he's not using any more overtake. His fuel is exceptionally low, but he looks like he's going to make it. Bunnies is going to win this race. He's coming to the line. And he's run out of fuel. Bunnies has run out of fuel. Is Matt going to catch him? No. Bunnies comes across the line. What a finish. Bunnies running out of fuel. Matt right behind him. Alexis also right there. But it's Bunnies who comes across the line to win. And let's look further back. Oh, as that is Jam making it through on Cthulhu on the inside of the chicane. So much chaos here on the final lap of the race. Jam making it through on Cthulhu. Further up the field, it's Daz, who looks like he's about to come across the line in fourth. It is Daz. He doesn't run out of fuel. Neither does Cthulhu. Seems like it was only Bunnies. But Bunnies ran out of fuel going about past the pit entrance. Slenderfella comes home with 6th. Jam 7th. Cthulhu 8th. Gazman 9th. Bad Payoso is going to be 10th. Let's watch him cross the line. Not a great round for our championship leader. Cthulhu only 8th. As 10th for Bad Payoso. Let's see. The Punisher and Digital Blasphemy already done the race. So Bailey will be our last driver to cross the line. That is so much so much chaos. I was struggling to keep up with that in the final lap. Holy cow. That was unbelievable as Rob on drums coming across the line. Now Jim Joker. Was Jim Joker spinning around a bit there. Hermond, and it will be Bailey last across the line. Let's pause it just as he goes across the line. Wow. That was certainly a race. That was a very chaotic race. Lots of chaos in the early section, in the midfield. Lots of strategy playing out in the midsection of the race, and that last lap fight for the win was just something else there between that top 3, to the point where I am tempted to just straight up go back and watch it again. I think it honestly might be worth it, because those 3 swapping positions on that final lap, as I've gone too far back by accident. Why don't I look here? Yes, let's watch this final battle here. It was Alexis ahead of Bunnies, ahead of Matt Psycho, going into this turn 5, turn 6, however you want to call it. It's Alexis on the outside, his teammate on the inside. Bunnies dives down the inside, and Alexis tries to make a switchback, touches the grass, gets oversteer, and then Matt sees an opportunity on the inside. He goes through as they're coming up towards going back onto the banking, and he gets through. And I tell you what, Alexis not able to make a move. Alexis actually making a slight mistake through the chicane in the dirty air with those hard tires. But then where it gets interesting again is if we look at Bunny's fuel gauge here on the left and watch his throttle in the bottom on the right side, we see it go from white to red as he runs out of fuel, and you can see Matt here gaining and gaining and gaining, and he just can't quite get him. But Alexis then third, and what an absolutely insane finish to this race. I'll just go back to Bailey so I can pause it as he comes across the line once again. There we go. And I will... Wow. Great job, Bunnies. I almost believed you when you said you didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah, of course, this is post-race commentary, so I am technically aware of what happens in the race, but it's so chaotic sometimes that even if you just watched it, or even if, you're a driver who's just driven in it even, sometimes you really don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, so that is the end of the race. I'll run you through the finishing positions quickly. It is Bunnies 9999 who takes the win. Bunnies, with a last lap overtake for the win, takes his first win of the season. We saw him get 4 wins last season, so that is that's a 5th win in Formula X for him, and it's a first of the season. Followed by Matt Psycho in second, back onto the podium after missing out on Spain. So it's a first, a non-finish, and a second for Matt. Non-start, I should say, not a non-finish. followed by Alexis in third, who has been such a consistent driver so far this season. Alexis taking third, followed by the reserve, Daz, an excellent return for the Brit. He is back, and he is in Benetton, and hopefully we'll see him again later this season, or perhaps next season. But wow, that was a very good drive from him. Intulu fifth, not far off of him from the looks of things. Slenderfella taking sixth, a very good result for the Ferrari driver, followed by SNL Jam in seventh, number 7, finishing number 7. Cthulhu, our championship leader beforehand, not doing quite what he will have wanted. He's in 8th position today, followed by Gasman right next to him where we've paused. So I'd imagine that was decently close between them. Of course, we know Jam overtaking Cthulhu into that chicane on the last lap. And that's actually quite a nice shot of those two cars there, the Renault and the Ferrari. I quite like that shot. Might take a photo of it in a minute. But yeah, Gasman in 9th, followed by Bad Payoso in 10th, Rob on Drums in 11th, 12th goes to Jim Joker, 13th to Harmond, 14th Bailey, 15th and 16th go to the Williams duo, the Punisher in 15th, and Digital Blasphemy in 16th. So these, if my memory serves me correctly, the provisional championship standings would involve Bunnies now taking the lead of the championship, Cthulhu in 2nd, I believe, with Alexis close behind in 3rd, followed by Matt Psycho, and then probably Intulu, and then Gasman, or the other way around between Intulu and Gasman. I'm not certain. Those are just based on memory of provisional standings. But yeah, so a really, really exceptional race today. We had quite a few viewers at some points, so I wanted to say a huge thanks to everyone who did watch today, and a huge thanks to everyone who raced. We had 16 starters and 16 finishers, so that is really excellent from the drivers, and excellent from the spectators as well, like I was saying. Thank you to everybody who watched. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you all next week for Monza with no first chicane. So that'll be very interesting. We'll see how that goes. Catch you later.